Cybersecurity recommendations to audit your passwords aren't just another message to ignore. They shatter a dangerous illusion. 83% of compromised passwords already met standard compliance rules. This proves compliance isn't security, especially when stolen credentials are part of 74% of all breaches. The scale is immense. In 2025 alone, over 2.2 billion passwords were exposed in U.S. data leaks. We'll show why old rules fail, what the new playbook demands, and how this guide protects your organization. The problem begins with user behavior. A full 84% of people admit to reusing passwords across different systems. This password reuse creates a catastrophic domino effect. One breach can give an attacker access to multiple systems. Worse, without modern auditing, this damage spreads silently. Breaches can go undetected for over 200 days. But this isn't just about user error. It's a systemic failure. So why do smart people make these risky choices? The cause is cognitive overload. The average employee is asked to manage about 70 unique, complex passwords. This is an impossible demand. Password reuse is a rational, though hazardous reaction to an unachievable policy. So why don't traditional audits stop this? Because they only check for simple things like complexity and expiration dates. This narrow focus creates huge security blind spots. What high-value targets do these outdated audits completely miss? One of the biggest is service accounts, which often have extreme permissions and passwords that never expire, making them a top prize for hackers. What if a strong password is already being sold online from a previous breach? This threat renders point-in-time compliance checks useless against credential stuffing attacks. These aren't just theoretical vulnerabilities. How do attackers actually use these gaps to break into your network? The most common entry method is phishing. Nearly half of all cyber attacks begin with a deceptive message aiming to steal credentials. Once inside, they hunt for easy prey, like network devices still using well-known default passwords. Next, they find stale accounts, forgotten credentials for former employees that are still active on the network. Finally, they target systems with weak password hashing, which makes cracking stolen password files simple. These exploits prove our old security playbook is broken. So, what does the new rulebook say? The latest NIST guidance inverts old advice. It values password length, 15 characters or more, over forced complexity rules. This is the compliance trap. A password like P at SSW or D1 is compliant but weak. A long passphrase is much harder to crack. That shocking 83% statistic from the beginning? This is the exact reason why. Compliance created a false sense of security. Even more surprisingly, NIST now advises against mandatory password rotation. Research shows it forces users into predictable patterns. The modern method is risk-based. Change a password only when there is evidence it's been compromised. The focus is on creating one very strong, unique password and protecting it. We've established the password overload problem and the failure of old rules. So how do we implement these new, stronger practices? Recall the impossible task of managing 70 passwords? The answer isn't telling people to try harder. It's giving them better tools, like password managers. NIST recommends them because they solve the core issues. They generate and store long, unique credentials, perfectly achieving the length over complexity goal. This directly counters phishing, the #1 attack vector. Password managers autofill only on legitimate sites, stopping users from being tricked by fakes. This is the true point of audits. Switching from policing users to enabling them with modern tools and practices. This marks a fundamental shift in cybersecurity, moving organizations from the illusion of compliance toward genuine, evidence-based security. We learned that old rules fail, human limitations are real, and modern security values length, uniqueness, and tools like password managers. For IT teams, your first step is clear. Audit your real risks: service accounts, stale credentials, and dark web password exposure. Don't just audit for compliance, audit for resilience. The security of our public and private institutions depends on it.